Napoleon Bonaparte. The name echoes through history. Few individuals have left such a mark on the world. Born on a small island, he rose to conquer empires. His ambition knew no bounds. Napoleon's story is one of ambition, brilliance, and ultimately defeat. He altered the map of Europe. His legal reforms still resonate today. Napoleon's life, though ultimately tragic, provides endless fascination. It is a story worth revisiting, understanding, and learning from. Napoleon's story begins far from the battlefields he would come to dominate. He was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica. This island, with its rugged terrain and independent spirit, shaped the young Napoleon. His family, though of noble lineage, was not wealthy. Napoleon received a scholarship to study military strategy in France. This education would prove invaluable. At the age of 16, he joined the French army as a second lieutenant. Napoleon quickly rose through the ranks of the French army. His intelligence and strategic mind were apparent. He achieved early success in campaigns in Italy, securing crucial victories for France. Napoleon's ambition grew alongside his victories. He saw himself as more than just a soldier. He desired power and influence. France, in the throes of revolution, provided fertile ground for his ambition. By 1799, France was in turmoil. The French Revolution had overthrown the monarchy, but stability remained elusive. Napoleon, with his military prestige, saw an opportunity. He staged a coup d'état, effectively seizing control of the government. Napoleon declared himself first consul, establishing a new regime. France, weary of chaos, largely accepted his rule. Section 5. Emperor Napoleon Crown and Reforms. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name synonymous with ambition and power, was a man of many titles and roles. Napoleon was not content with being first consul. His ambitions reached far beyond the title he had already secured. He sought to elevate his status to the highest possible level. He desired the ultimate symbol of power. The crown jewels of France, the very essence of monarchical authority, were within his grasp. In 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of the French. This act shocked many. The self-coronation was a bold statement, a declaration of his supreme authority and independence from the church and traditional monarchy. He was no longer a revolutionary general, but an emperor in his own right. Draped in imperial robes, he sat on a throne that symbolized his new role and the grandeur of his reign. Napoleon, however, was not just a conqueror. His vision extended beyond the battlefield. He was a leader who sought to reshape the very fabric of society. He implemented significant reforms in France. These reforms were not mere adjustments, but sweeping changes that would lay the foundation for modern French society. His Napoleonic Code standardized French law. This legal framework was revolutionary, providing a clear and consistent set of laws that applied to all citizens, regardless of their status. He reformed education and established the Bank of France. By doing so, he aimed to create a stable and prosperous society, with educated citizens and a robust financial system. These reforms, though enacted under an authoritarian regime, had a lasting impact. They were instrumental in shaping the future of France, leaving a legacy that would endure long after his reign. Section 6. Military Triumphs and Defeats, the Napoleonic Wars. Napoleon's reign was defined by war. He led France in a series of conflicts known as the Napoleonic Wars. His armies marched across Europe, clashing with Austria, Prussia, Russia, and Great Britain. Napoleon's military genius is undeniable. He won stunning victories at Austerlitz, Jena, and Friedland. However, his ambition ultimately led to his downfall. The disastrous invasion of Russia in 1812 marked a turning point. The Grande Armée, decimated by the Russian winter, was forced to retreat. Section 7. Exile on Elba, a temporary setback. Napoleon's enemies, emboldened by his defeat in Russia, closed in on France. In 1814, he was forced to abdicate and was exiled to the island of Elba. It seemed his reign was over. However, Napoleon was not a man to be easily defeated. He spent his time on Elba plotting his return. He watched as France, under the restored monarchy, struggled to find peace. Section 8. The 100 Days and Waterloo, a final stand. This chapter delves into the dramatic and final chapter of Napoleon Bonaparte's storied career. In 1815, after being exiled to the island of Elba, Napoleon made a daring escape. He landed in France, determined to reclaim his empire and restore his former glory. With his charismatic leadership, he quickly rallied his supporters. Soldiers and citizens alike flocked to his side, inspired by his vision and determination. Together, they marched on Paris, their numbers growing with each passing day. The news of Napoleon's return spread like wildfire. King Louis XIV, fearing for his life and throne, fled the city. Napoleon entered Paris triumphantly, greeted by cheering crowds and loyal followers. He reclaimed his throne, reinstating his rule over France. This period, known as the 100 Days, marked Napoleon's brief return to power. Despite the initial euphoria, his second reign was fraught with challenges and opposition. The European powers, wary of Napoleon's ambitions, quickly united against him. Britain, Prussia, Austria and Russia formed a coalition determined to end his rule once and for all. The decisive moment came at the Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon faced a formidable combined British and Prussian army, led by the Duke of Wellington and General Blucher. The battlefield was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of Europe. The battle raged on with intense ferocity. Despite his strategic genius, Napoleon's forces were overwhelmed. The combined might of the British and Prussian armies proved too much. The battle ended in a crushing defeat for Napoleon, sealing his fate. Defeated, and with no options left, Napoleon was forced to abdicate once more. This time he was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, far from the European continent. It was here, in isolation, that he would spend the remaining years of his life reflecting on his rise and fall and the indelible mark he left on history. Section 9. Napoleon's enduring legacy, impact and influence. Napoleon died in exile in 1821. His final resting place on the remote island of St. Helena stands as a solemn reminder of his dramatic rise and fall. The gravestone, etched with his name, marks the end of an era that saw Europe transformed by his ambitions. His reign, though marked by war and ambition, left an indelible mark on Europe and the world. The Napoleonic Wars reshaped the continent, redrawing borders and altering the course of nations. Landmarks across Europe still bear the scars and stories of battles fought under his command. He had risen from humble beginnings to become one of the most powerful men in the world. Born on the island of Corsica, Napoleon's early life was far from the grandeur he would later achieve. His journey from a modest upbringing to the heights of power is a testament to his extraordinary determination and strategic genius. His legal reforms continue to influence law codes today. The Napoleonic Code, established in 1804, laid the foundation for modern legal systems in many countries. Its principles of equality before the law and the protection of property rights have endured, shaping judicial practices around the globe. His military strategies are still studied in military academies. Napoleon's innovative tactics and battlefield maneuvers revolutionized military thinking. His campaigns are analyzed for their strategic brilliance, and his methods are taught to aspiring military leaders as examples of effective command and control. Napoleon's story is a cautionary tale of ambition and its consequences. His relentless pursuit of power led to widespread conflict and suffering. The dramatic scenes of war and the contemplative portraits of Napoleon reflect the duality of his legacy, both a visionary leader and a harbinger of destruction. Yet it is also a testament to the power of a single individual to shape the course of history. Monuments dedicated to Napoleon stand as enduring symbols of his impact. His reign saw significant historical events that continue to be studied and remembered. The dramatic shots of historical figures remind us of the profound influence one person can have on the world stage.